social media networks. I'm an entrepreneur influencer. I'm also a producer at award-winning production Campsite Studios. Today I have an entrepreneur that's been standing out to me since I've seen her on Instagram. She's doing crazy things with the jewelry. I love the designs. She's also a curated director. She's also a public speaker for a lot of events. I'd like to introduce the founder of Ilia Tatiana Ilia.
Thank you for the intro.
Yeah, of course. Now I had to get the intro right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us at your lovely office space, your lovely crib.
Thank you for having us. Give thanks to God. A long time ago, I didn't have all of this.
It's a process.
Yes, it's a process for sure, and we'll be talking about that.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Well, first thing I always like to ask my entrepreneurs is, what inspired you to be an entrepreneur?
So honestly, I've always been a creative from when I was a kid.
Okay.
And so school wasn't always like the easiest for me. I didn't always get the best grades in like elementary school.
Okay.
But I always gravitated to like drawing or painting or like dressing
side.
up my dolls or like creative, very creative. That's how my brain would work.
Okay.
And I would like do things to keep myself busy, like little projects and stuff like that.
Okay.
So then as I got older and going into high school and gravitating more towards like art, music, fashion, and like having friends in that whole vibe as well too. And then like I was in school in like the early 2000s, so that's like NERD era, hipster, skateboard,
and what school did you go to?
I went to Elmont Memorial High School.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So shout out to Elmont.
Okay, shout out to Elmont. I'm from Queens, so we right next to
we neighbors right there.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So in high school, like me and my friends, we actually started an online magazine called the Skinny Jeans Committee. That's when Skinny Jeans were in. And then we changed it to Ethos magazine, so it was like a lifestyle magazine, and we had different columns like fashion, tech, music, art, stuff like that. So we did that for a couple years as like a passion project. And then with graduating high school and going into college, a lot of people just like started to transition into their own fields and stuff like that. So then I ended up going to college. I went to SUNY Westbury.
Okay, so you stayed home. You stayed around the area. You stayed in New York.
So I commuted. I wanted to go away, but then I actually got the opportunity to work with the IRS as an intern. And it was like with the communications and education division of the IRS.
Oh wow!
So
I didn't even know the IRS had something like that.
Me neither until I joined.
Like I didn't think they worried about things like that.
Yeah, I didn't know until I joined. But so I got the opportunity. My mom actually found out about it. She's like, you better apply. You're not doing nothing else after high school. Like I was doing like the after school program and like working with kids in high school. So when it came to college, it was like, okay, like what's your level up gonna be? Like you need to make like more money, think about stability, think about the future. Exactly. So I went to college, and then while I was in college, I was interning with the IRS as well too. Okay. And so I was only supposed to be there for a few months, and they extended me to like a year, and then another year, and then next thing you know, I was about to be done with college, and they were like, well, we have a position open for you if you're available. So you could do that once you graduate. So I was like, all right, bet. Like I'm trying to make some money.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? To leave college and have a job waiting for you right away, that's a blessing.
That's very rare.
Yeah, that's rare.
Such
like
a blessing.
A lot of people come out of college like not knowing what direction to go, and for you to have the opportunity, or have an intern actually waiting for me to be full time, that's a blessing. Like,
exactly. And so because it was such a blessing, and my mom was not gonna let me not do that. She'd be like, "You be stupid if you don't do this job."
Mom was motivating you. She was pushing you.
Yeah, but it's like I always had this tug and pull between like the business side of myself and like doing the responsible thing and like being more like logical with my thinking and like book smart, and then being like creative and just like having that creative expression. So even though I was working at the IRS and I was going to college, I was like, well, I'm gonna still use whatever time I have to like make jewelry or like work on creative projects with my friends. So that's how I fell into working with costume jewelry and just like making stuff like through chains and beads and leather and just experimenting and seeing like where my mind takes me. And so that was back in 2011 when I started that. I graduated high school in 2009. So that was like midway into college where I really started to like say, okay, I'm gonna make stuff, and my friends are like, yo, this is dope, you should sell it. So I was like, okay, let me make a website, let me do a photo shoot, let me create like a structure.
Got you.
And this was before Squarespace and like Shopify was like very popular. So I had my friend that knew web design. He was like, all right, we took the pictures from the shoot. Let's create some sort of framework for you. And it was like, that's half the battle. But then even with doing, I realized like, okay, you have to be consistent with like keeping up with this, and then keeping up with school, and then keeping up with your job, and then keeping up with your family and personal life. So it's taught me how to juggle for sure.
You've been juggling for like 10 years plus right now. So I mean, you gotta. You're never perfect at it, but it's still something that you're still trying to juggle all the time.
For sure. So
they say
that's
it's not
how I
got
got
started.
It's not, but it's like what you make it. You know what I mean? So even like as I've gotten older, I've learned to prioritize, but I've also learned to like set my own pace, and not like think about it in a way like I'm in competition with other people, more so like I'm in competition with myself. Like I'm like following on my own journey, I'm on my own path, and so like what everyone else is doing, like that's cool, and like I may be like, okay, like, you know, maybe you should do this and maybe you should do that, but then it's like you do it your way. Like no one's gonna do everything exactly the same. Like we're all individuals, we're all different, and so that's why like even this October is going to be 10 years since I started my line, and since I started like really doing work as a creative, and like me just starting that and like doing pop-up shops then led me to like putting pop-up shops together and like putting art events together, panel discussions, photo shoots, speaking engagements, parties, like just in like the Brooklyn area, NYC area. So it kind of just became like a whole big melting pot of things. I
mean, we on the melting pot of, you know, right? That's what they say. NYC is the melting pot. So I mean, at least you're really out there networking, doing what you want to do. I mean, like you said, you've been doing. It sounds like to me you've been on the creative side since you got into school. Like you realized you didn't really love school, but you was like, I know what I like doing, so I'm always gonna stick to that creative
art class and stuff like that. But even before I was like able to read and I was just home, I was always into just like art, like fashion, like my sister's stuff. I was in her makeup, I was in her clothes, like
the older sister,
trying to dress up. All my siblings are older than me, and so like my older sister, older sister, she would like she would dress up and go out, and I'll watch her. Then when she would go out, I'll go in her closet and like start trying on her heels. Like,
it sounds familiar. You know, my cameraman has done that. My brother's done that many times. I understand what that's like.
It be like that sometimes.
I know what it's like. But that's so you saw your sister, you saw how she was, you know, dressing, and then you decided like, you know, mess around. He was like, I like doing this for myself, I like creating things, and then your friends was like, I think it's a dope, I think you should start selling it. So is that right? Is that moment when you realize you can make this into a business and really turn things up with the jewelry and accessories?
Yes, because my friends are very fashionable. Like they.
I mean, you're very fashionable yourself.
The jewelry. Like I just like colors and fabrics and patterns and putting it together and making it my own, and even like I always love music and I love music videos, so I would see the fashion and music videos and what artists would be wearing, and I'd be like, oh, that's fire, and then you just recreate like you know your own version of it. So a lot of my friends were very stylish as well, and like very talented as well too. So them saying that they really like my items actually like gave me a sense of like validation and like of affirmation and confidence, where it's like, okay, like it's not just me, like I'm not bugging, like someone would actually buy this, you know what I mean? And over time, like as I do pop-up shops and I see like what people gravitate to and what people don't gravitate to, I understand like what my audience is also looking for.
Gotcha.
And so that keeps me on my toes as well too as a creative, just because it's like I want to cater to like my own creative needs, but also like my audience's creative needs as well too. And then getting into gemstones and like doing healing work on myself and understanding energy and properties and like the earth and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions on that.
Okay,
so,
so I mean, well, we won't get into that yet.
I have a lot of questions on that, but before we dive into like the jewelry aspect and like how you started the business, like tell people who Tatiana is. Like you're from New York, you're from, it seems like you love Long Island, you stay in Long Island.
Long Island, Queens, but honestly like New York is my home, like Long Island, Queens, Brooklyn, New York City. Like I was working in the city, downtown Manhattan for like several years. Like I've been working for the IRS for 10 years. These past few years I've been able to work from home.
Okay.
Especially with COVID. But like for a very long time I was going in and out to the city every day.
Taking LR.
And or the subway and the Q4 right there on Linden.
Taking that trip.
That was an hour and a half, 2 hour trip just to go, and then another hour and a half, 2 hours to come back. You gotta wait for the bus, you gotta wait for the train. Like that was a whole other life for me, and it's so crazy because like now talking about it, I'm able to reflect and be like, wow, like I get to have some sense of gratitude where it's like I'm able to work from home. I'm able to have a studio because like for a long time I was working out of my room and I didn't have the time to create or be on conference calls for other creative projects that I'm working on and like, you know, sharing my time in this way because I was spending time commuting. I was spending 3 to 4 hours every day commuting back and forth to work. And then I'm in the office and I'm working on these things. And then it's like everything I need is at home. So I can't really do work at home. And also you're not technically not supposed to be doing that anyways. So it's just like now I'm able to create more of a balance for myself and create more of like a consistent rhythm. And so that gives me more flexibility as an artist and like as a businesswoman.
For sure.
And so now I'm like able to really figure out my structure and my footing and like how I'm allocating my time, where it's like doing what I need to do on like a business level and a creative level, but then also like factoring my own self-care as well too, like time meditating and grounding my energy.
No, I believe you. Like time is important. I think as an adult, as we get older, we realize like we can't get time back. And I think allocating your time to the right things are gonna better yourself. Like self-care is one thing a lot of people don't realize, that they put so much work into a company they're working for even their business, and they don't really take the time for self-care to really like take a step back and realize how they're feeling,
100%.
what they're going through. And I think you creating a space gives you that time to like, all right, do business, but also have time to self-care. You could sit back and like, you know, think about what you're doing right now. Think about what the next steps are going to be for your business and, you know, for your career. And I'm sure this pandemic has given you opportunities, like you said, to build this whole office for yourself. So it's kind of like a blessing in disguise to give you that time to really figure out what you want. And with that being said, since you're able to build this office, do you see yourself going back into the office?
No.
I mean, because they're going to be pressing out soon, like, hey, guys, I see y'all out and about.
Before COVID, I didn't even have a cubicle. I was only going into the office 1 or 2 days a week. And I was working from my computer, and we were going into, like, a conference room. It's been 1.5 years since I've been in the office. So now I'm just like, honestly, like there's no need for me to go back into the office. You've been good
so far.
Eventually I definitely want to transition out of my full-time job and do everything else full-time, which is what I'm working on, and just like creating multiple streams of income and revenue for myself. That's like with the creative direction, creative curation, the jewelry and accessories, speaking engagements, things like that. So it's more so like creating those structures for myself and like packaging those things up so that it makes sense, and then being able to like just execute and like perform consistently. So then I can like have that, because it's like also as an entrepreneur, like it's very glamorized, but if you're not working,
it's a lot of work.
Your business is not like it's not making money. It's not like it's not flowing unless you have people working for you. You have certain things in place. It's not going to work. And so that's why I'm also grateful for my job, because it's like it's giving me that stability so that I could find myself as a creative. So even people that are working full-time jobs right now and they're like, damn, like I just want to quit this and do my shit full-time, like yes, I feel you, but like create a savings for yourself. Like it's not bad to have a backup plan and allowing that job to fund what you're really passionate about.
That's what it's all about.
Because then you have more creative freedom. You don't have to deal with like that stress.
And you got stability.
It's very stressful.
Yeah, very stressful when you like worrying about like, damn, I want to do this, but do I have the funds to support myself? So I think a lot of people think entrepreneurship is just, oh yeah, I'm gonna just create a business. You gotta also fund your business, and for you to fund your business, you have to work. Unless you come from like a trust fund or you got some money some other way somehow. But I think a lot of people don't realize like entrepreneurship takes a lot of work, and it takes sometimes you gotta work for someone else before you can do all for yourself. And
building connections, like expanding your network. And sometimes, like, not everything you do is going to be a paid opportunity, but it may be a great networking opportunity where you're able to build and like create like long lasting connections with people.
Yeah, speaking of networking, that's how we met at doing
the Alex Wolf production.
Exactly, with Driven Society.
On something, and
that's how we met, just networking, just being around other creatives and being able to pick each other's brains and figure out what you're doing, what I'm doing. So I think that's the way people should move.
Definitely.
And
that's like the old school
way. Yeah, that's the old school way.
Before going on social media, it's like you actually get to meet people and talk to people.
I think social media kind of gives people the shortcut. I think it puts people in a way of like, oh, I don't have to go out and network because I could just put everything on social media and that'll be my validation for networking. Which, I mean, social media is great for networking, but it's not the end all be all. It's a balance. You have to be able to be out there doing the groundwork so people actually see you face to face. Like, especially in New York, people like seeing who they're following or who they're supporting. Yeah, because that's just what it is.
And even too, like, even if you slide in someone's DMs and you do a great introduction and everything, your profile looks great, that person like may or may not write back to you because it's harder to create like that energetic connection and really like see who the person is. And as opposed to like if you met someone in person, like you'll be able to kind of tell off the bat and like gauge the conversation,
get a better read on them,
and leave like a more memorable impression on them based off of like the conversation that you have with them, which will then later on could like possibly lead to like more opportunities and stuff like that, or ways to collaborate.
Exactly. I think that's the way to go about it. And since you've been an entrepreneur, you've been an entrepreneur in various ways and taking on so many roles. How are you able to balance all those roles and wear those hats? How are you able to switch? How are you able to switch gears like that?
Sometimes I like ask myself that same question.
Because you're so ambitious. It's like how do you take in all these tasks?
It's a lot of, and honestly, like these past couple of years, like leaning more into meditation and energy work and sound bowls and like finding ways, or even just being in nature, like finding ways to ground myself. Because there were times where I did burn myself out because I was taking on so much. But it's like naturally, like I'm an ambitious person. I'm very passionate about what I do. And I love like working with people. I love creating. That's how my mom has been. Like she's always been very ambitious and she's taught me to be that way.
That's what's up. Mom dudes push you in the right direction.
Yeah. So it's like, so I've always seen her being like very independent and working hard. And so that's what I was seeing, feel like I had to achieve as well too. So I would always like carry myself in a certain way, but like of course we're not robots, and that's something that we learned a lot through COVID. It's like it's like we can't just work all day or be on our phone or on the computer or watch TV all day. We need human interaction. We need nature. We need exercise. We need meditation. Like we need to just like do something outside of the normal. And so for me, it's just like recognizing when I may be feeling burnt out or when I'm overdoing it, and like scaling back or grounding myself, meditating, like having certain like rituals in place where it's like I'm meditating in the morning. I'm taking time to like be with myself. I'm listening to like positive affirmations. And like every day is not like that. Like I'm not always a morning person. So sometimes I wake up and I'm just like, oh my God, and I'm snoozing my alarm for hours. And then it's just like, okay, like you got to get up now, like, because it's like, it's an everyday thing. And some days you don't feel like doing it. And that's just what it is.
That is very true.
And that's why they call it like doing the work, because it is work to kind of bring yourself back into alignment, like bring your energy back up. Because even with what I do, it's like doing energy work and working with stones and even like meditation, like doing guided meditations, and even I'm learning about like actual energy work, like transmuting energy.
How are you learning about these things? Through books, through like YouTube?
Yeah, books, YouTube, real life experiences. I've done like Reiki on, like I've had people do Reiki on me.
Oh, for real? How's that experience? I've heard of it.
It's great. I definitely recommend it.
I'm more into like the holistic approach because I'm like big into like I try to like I'm on like a vegan somewhat diet, so I like really just try to eat vegan when I'm at home, and when I go on like vacation, I may dabble in like fish and stuff, but
it's a balance.
It's a balance, exactly.
I'm like that too sometimes.
Yeah, so I've heard about the Reiki. How was that experience? Like, how did you feel after that?
So it's great. Like I've done it several times.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I've had it
Where
done
have you gone
on
for
me. Different people that I know. There's a lot of holistic care practitioners, Reiki healers, intuitives, mediums. And so, like, everything is made up of energy. We're made up of energy, our surroundings, everything. And so, with that comes like different intentions that now like are set and maybe like placed on you, and it can either make you feel good or make you feel bad. So growing up, you have traumatic experiences, or you go through different things, and that may make you feel bad, that may make you feel heavy energetically. And so when we acknowledge that, it's like, okay, how do I release that? How do I let that go so that I can heal? Because then it's like that conversation of healing. Like, what does healing look like? You know,
a lot of people don't know what that means.
Yeah, or it's like, I don't want to heal. I'm scared to heal. And it's like, you're scared to heal because there's something that's hurting you so much that needs to be released. Like, and even when we think
that's
about
a gem
like,
right there. That was a gem. I just thought I was like, damn, that's a gem. Like, a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, we're often like taught to run away from the pain and cope with the pain in every other way except for actually like dealing with it. Like, now more people are talking about therapy. Now people are talking about cleansing and clearing energy and Reiki and all these things. But for a long time, like when you think about our parents' generations, like they were in so much of a survival mode, a lot of them, that they didn't even have a time to acknowledge like
life.
Life. Like, I'm going through this. I'm feeling like this. Why is this happening to me? Why am I angry? Why am I depressed? Why am I lashing out? Why, you know, like, it's like a lot of those things. And so now we're understanding it more, and COVID definitely forced us to get real with that, because we had to like sit down and be in one place. Like, after you could only be home and like doing certain things for so long, and everything was shut down. And so it forced you to really be with yourself and like get clear on a lot of things within yourself, where it's like, okay, like maybe I'm not always happy all the time, or maybe this still triggers me. Now I need to lean into it instead of running away from it, so I can explore why it's triggering me. What happened to me that I need to like heal from? Who do I need to forgive, whether it's myself or someone else? And so there's different ways to do that, through like therapy, talking to someone, doing Reiki, doing energy work, wearing crystals, using crystals. Selenite is one of my favorite crystals because it has clearing. It has clearing properties, and so if you can pass that to me there,
Got you. I was learning about crystals today. YouTube was giving me a little bit of a rundown of some of the crystals and the gemstones that are out there and what they do for you. I thought it was like more of a spiritual thing. I didn't know they actually like can change your energy, and it changes the way you physically can feel in different ways. Like, some are good for like your spleen, your blood pressure, all that. It's just crazy. I did not know these things can change your energy like that. That's amazing.
And so like what's so interesting is like when we talk about this too, it's like we realize how much more connected we are than disconnected, because everything is energy. Then we think about like our chakras, which are the energy centers, and they have like different colors, right? And so a lot of certain gemstones activate and charge up different energy centers in our body. Just like certain foods charge up and activate different energy centers in our body. That's why, like, even with you being vegan, I'm sure you've noticed the difference where you eat like more fruits and vegetables, as opposed to like fast food. Like, if you're eating a burger and fries, you may feel really different compared to if you have a salad or some like roasted vegetables, and even like if you had some salmon on the side, you know, not like a heavier meat, your mood will feel different. And that's because your body's processing that energy. And so just being like knowledgeable, or just like realizing the fact that like we're receptive to a lot more than like we give off.
Got you.
And so that's why when you're in that constant state of like saying, okay, let me check in, how am I feeling energetically, or like, was I snapping at somebody earlier for no reason? Let me check myself. Let me do a vibe check. And like, what do I need to do to reground myself, to bring myself back into alignment?
Understood.
So it's always shifting.
And did a moment like that happen for you to get into the crystals and the gemstones? Like, originally you said you started off with costume jewelry and different accessories. When did you start incorporating the crystals and the gemstones?
I want to say
crystals and gemstones, the same thing, right?
Yeah, gemstones, crystals, whatever you prefer to say.
Got you.
I want to say about 2 to 3 years ago.
Okay. And
maybe more than that, like a little over 3 years ago. But it's like really over these past few years, I started getting more into like the understanding of it and like using them and practicing with them. And I was going through my own healing journey. So like I've went through a lot of traumatic experiences growing up as a child, as a young adult, as an adult. And I realized like it was weighing me down, and it was also like stop. Like I'm so ambitious, I want to do all these things, but then it's like you can't perform if like you're going through it.
Yeah,
like
if you're
stressed,
blocking you,
if you're stressed, if you're depressed, if you're overwhelmed, like if you have, and that's why like that sense of like healing and clearing, it's important, because once you clear, it's like clearing out your plate. Once your plate is clear, then you could add new things onto your plate. Exactly. So it's hard to like receive new blessings if you're still holding on to old things that happened to you that's no longer serving you.
Wow.
And so
you're dropping a whole bunch of gems on here. I'm gonna have a lot of things on this one, y'all. Nah, that's so true though. That is so true.
Yeah, so it's like understanding that, you know what I mean? And so for me, like I did this program called Momentum Education. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's personal and professional development. They have a series of workshops and programs. It's really awesome. And that helped me to get clear on understanding like how things that happened to me played an effect on like me and like my mannerisms or like how I would act or how I would react or how I may be more closed off. And it allowed me to have like that understanding. And then I wanted to go deeper into it. So then I started like learning more about crystals and spirituality and meditation and yoga, and I've been doing certain things for a while because I naturally gravitated to it. And then I was like, wow, when I do this I feel good, like I feel better. Now understanding why, that's what it is. And that's why I loved it, because I'm like more of an experiential learner. Like I like to do the thing and then get the feedback. And that sometimes that's also held me back in a certain sense, because I'm like, let me try it out. If it's messed up, whatever. And then I instead of doing the research, you know what I mean?
Got you.
But like with things like this, like you feel it automatically. So I'm gonna actually do something for you. I'm gonna like put this around you. Like this is the selenite gemstone, so it clears your energy field.
Oh, for real?
So when you put it over you, it like clears your energy, cleanses your energy, and you'll feel a difference. Wow. So I'm gonna do it for you. This is like your crown chakra.
Yeah, my YouTube viewers, make sure y'all check this out. For my listeners, check it out on YouTube too, because this is dope.
Yeah, so this is a selenite gemstone. It's good for cleansing and clearing and releasing. This is a really big selenite, so it's like a lot more powerful. I don't know if you feel any like lightness coming over you.
No, I do, like in my shoulders.
Yeah,
a little bit.
We carry a lot of like energetic tension and stress in our back and our neck area. So even sometimes you have back pain and you're like, oh my God, it's my back, it's my back. It's like now something's on you that needs to be released. But yeah, I love this because it brings you to a state of like just clear and like balance. And I'm very empathic, so sometimes I can feel people's energy. Especially if it's heavy, it will like latch on to me and like have like I'll just like feel heavy and I'm like, why do I feel so heavy? And it's because someone else's energy is like on me, so I gotta be in a state of releasing so I could get back to like oneness with myself. So like I'm operating not from a space of like what other people think or like putting on or giving off to me. It's like, what am I giving off? You know what I mean? So being more in control of my energy.
Okay, I understand. So do you typically do this on a regular basis? Or
every day.
Every day come to your desk. Like, let me get this good energy.
Sometimes I'll be on calls, I'm like, okay, because then it's like, then I start feeling weighed down. And I realize like, if I don't need to operate feeling like that, then like, let me not. You know what I mean? Because then that's like, how am I showing up? Because then now I may be irritable or I may not be fully paying attention.
You may be clouded because you have this bad energy.
Like even when you put this on your third eye area, your crown chakra area, this gives you so much clarity. Like your whole.
Damn. And with these crystals, once you started incorporating these into your life, did you notice a good change right away? Was it like, oh my God, like this is so relieving?
Yes.
Wow. You would think, I mean, just learning from what I learned today and like watching you and from you as well, like you would think more people would incorporate this into like wearing all the time, like the bracelets or like jewelry. Like you think instead of like, you know, the rappers, everybody's buying like big chains, they would buy stuff that gives them like good energy and like good vibes. Like Big Sean, I know is big on that. He always carries around crystals and gemstones because it's good energy. So I wish more people were educated on it or knew about it, because I think a lot of people see a lot of benefits from it. And they're like, wow, I should just get some stones, see how that works out.
Yeah, and that's why we're having this conversation right now, right? Like, shout out to you and your podcast, because you're creating a platform where this information can now be shared.
Yeah, for sure.
Now more people are talking about it than before, which is great. But it's like, this is not something that we're taught in school.
Not at all.
And so that has something to do with like the schooling system as well too, where it's like we're taught all this history and we're taught all these like different mathematics and things about science and all these things, but we're not taught about taxes. We're not really given that many tools regarding
information.
Stocks,
I was talking about that one of my
entrepreneurship.
Yeah, none of that.
Yeah, so it's like energy. How do you feel? Like counseling.
Self-care.
Like usually, if you had to go to a counselor, it's like something's wrong with you. But it's like, why does something have to be wrong with me in order for me to speak, like, or speak up in terms of how I'm feeling? Like, someone can address how they're feeling, and you guys can have an adult conversation without it turning into like a blowout argument.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And there's ways to communicate, but we're not often taught that, and so we revert back to all that we know. So people can only operate from like a place of what they know.
No, exactly. Not educated. They're not educated on that, and that's that's hopefully what this platform and other platforms bring to
just
people.
having the conversation, and that's why I like to always share. And like when my friends come by, I'm like, oh, let me just do this real quick. Like, let me know how you feel. And so like, this is also like a form of Reiki, like energy transferring, because it's like releasing it. And so now you feel lighter, and anything I do is like always for the highest good as well too. So it's just keeping that energy light, keeping it with good intention.
So in terms of meditation, what do you listen, like certain apps or like YouTube videos to get into meditation? Because myself, I use Calm. I use that on like I say when I have a lot on my plate and I know I need to like clear my head, that's when I typically use Calm to like bring down that stress. So what about you?
I love Calm. The app is really awesome. For me, I use different things on different days, because like I'm also like, I'm an experiential learner, but I'm also like, the Aquarius in me is like free spirited, where it's like I get bored, like I can't just do one thing, like because even some people are like, oh my gosh, meditation, like there's different forms of meditation, like playing my sound bowl is one form of meditation. Listening to the Calm app, we'll close out with like a nice little meditation.
I would love that.
So like my sound bowl is one, listening to the Calm app, listening to affirmations, like that's also a form of meditation. There's a lot of stuff on Spotify and like Apple Music. YouTube also has like healing frequencies. I do a lot of sleep meditations where I'll listen to the healing frequencies in the nighttime. So if you guys go on YouTube and you search healing frequencies, there's the different ones like 982 hertz or 432 hertz and they all have different benefits for the body. So some of them like are oriented towards like the different chakra, like for your crown or your third eye or your heart. Some of them are just like good for like manifesting or like bringing positive energy. So because it's like everything is vibration, everything is energy. So even with music, you gravitate to certain music, and it's like because of like the vibration or the frequency or the energy or the beat. Sometimes it's like they not making no sense when they talking, but it's like the production that got your attention, and so you want to think like, okay, what frequency was underneath that? Like, you know, sometimes they lay that under as like the foundation of the production, and then they add everything on top of it. So subconsciously you're still gravitating to it. So I listen to a lot of different things depending on what I need. Abraham Hicks is really good as well too, in terms of just like speaking positivity into your life and like a lot of like reprogramming. So like I'd be lying to you if I say, yeah, I wake up every day and meditate and everything is fine, and it's like, no, like I'm human, I go through things as well too. Sometimes I don't want to meditate. Sometimes I'm just like, fuck this.
That's just how it is. I feel it.
I don't care.
Everybody feels that way sometimes.
But then it's like, okay, let me do what I need to do. Let me go grab my sound bowl. Let me just ground myself, and then after I'll feel better. And sometimes I even learn that I may have to do it multiple times throughout the day, because you may start off your day on a really great note, and then something happens to you, and you're like flushed with anger. You're like, yo,
I've been there before.
I wasn't ready for that. So then you have to like reground yourself. You know what I mean? And not, and it's like also like having that control over yourself, over your mind, over your emotions. And essentially knowing that like you have power. You're the one that's in control of your life. It's you and God that's authoring your life, that's making things happen. So then it's like, okay, like I'm bigger than this situation. Like everything is gonna work out, so that you don't go through that downward spiral.
That's a fact. Nah, you giving a lot of gems there. Like I feel like you should teach like a class on just getting into this type of thing.
Yeah, eventually.
I can see that for you, because like you said, you incorporated this into your business about 2-3 years ago. You have the sound bowl Sundays. You incorporate good energy energy overall. So I think you giving out that good energy is only going to bring it back. It's manifesting good energy coming back.
Yes, 100%.
That's major. And in terms of like, so since you're a woman of many talents, like you're doing so much, what is your passion? Like I know you have the jewelry, but because you're a model, you're curating events, and you're also doing panels. How are you able to, like, what is your passion out of all those things?
Of all the things,
like they said, you only do one thing, Tatiana. You can't do nothing else. I don't want you doing nothing else. How would that play out for you?
It would probably be like the gemstones and like the healing work, like stuff in that realm, like incorporating like the gemstones and jewelry and like healing work. And energy work, because I feel like even me, as I've been growing spiritually and like learning more about these things and being able to help people that I know, because it's really more so sharing with like friends and family, and then I see how like people feel, how they react, and I'm like, okay, cool, like, because it's really just serving and seeing how people feel, so I know that it's a thing that really works, not just on me. And so as I've been seeing such positive feedback, I'm like, okay, this is something that I want to learn more about, that I want to lean more into. And I feel like it's more aligned with my purpose. Because essentially, like, if we're able to heal from what we've been through, then we're able to show up different. If we're showing up differently, then we're actually like strengthening humanity. Like, we're helping to heal humanity. We're helping people to heal and grow and now make better decisions for like the masses, because it's a domino effect. Like, if you're in a bad mood, the next person you walk into, anybody could get it. It's like you might go off on them, and then now they're going to be in bad mood, and so that's a ripple effect. Whereas now if I say, okay, let me scale back, let me do the work, and something happened to me, let me ground myself, let me just like do what I need to do, release. If I need to punch something, if I need to meditate, whatever I need to do, all right, reel it in. Now go back outside. You may not be as reactive, and so you may not take out what you're going through on the next person that you bump into, and you may like be in a better mood, and then you will like actually like be nice to that person, and you may change that person's mood and be like, wow, like today wasn't all bad after all. So it's really just shifting that and allowing us to remember that like we're the ones that are in control.
I think that's what a lot of people have to understand. Some people think some people think they control everything we can't control, but it's good to know that you can take control over your energy. You could take control over how you feel at the moment if you just take a step back and just find ways that work for you.
And if you need a minute, like you need a minute, and like there's degrees to it as well too, because sometimes things happen to people and it's really traumatic, and that's not something that you could just brush off in a day, and that's okay. Like, take the time that you need to heal, to go through the motions of it, but then know that this isn't permanent. Like, this too shall pass. And also too, like, seeing like, okay, what can I learn from it? Like, whether it's you need to cut people out of your life or your circle, or you need to like be careful next time with what you do, or just moving smarter so that you know next time, okay, let me prevent this. Or sometimes things happen to us and like we're the complete victim and we had no control over it, and you know, even those situations that are unfortunate, it gives us like a chip on our shoulder, but then even like letting go of those situations so that it doesn't like alter the rest of the trajectory of your life.
That's true.
Because sometimes like something that happened to you 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you holding on to it, and it's like it affects you for all this time. And even for me, I went through so much like growing up that like I didn't realize how much I was holding on to and for how long I was holding on to it, and how it was actually like I was doing things, but it was like also putting me back, because it's like a tug and pull. You know what I mean?
I understand exactly what you mean. I think everybody deals with that internally. Like when one of my boys was talking, as you get older, you realize like you do, like as a man, and I think even in the Black and brown community, like we think I don't need to talk to nobody, I can handle my problems myself, I could just think about it, I'm internalizing, and I'll get over it. But I was actually talking to one of my homies, and he was like, yo bro, like I might really need to go to therapy. I think it's just a way to alleviate what's on my mind,
to talk,
just to get it off my chest and just have someone to like understand where I'm coming from. So I was like, yeah, that does make sense, because as you get older, you realize like everyone has their internal things that they're dealing with that no one else can see on the outside, but everyone deals with this stuff internally. So I think it's best to get get a therapist, or take this route, try to find a way to like to manifest good energy, to bring that to bring down the stress and anxiety of what's going on in your life. So I think that's dope. And in terms of what do you see for your business in the next 5 years? Like what What do you inspire for your business to do?
So in the next 5 years, I'll definitely be branching out more.
Yeah, because you're in New York. I know you're New York based. So like, where do you see yourself? Like,
oh yeah, like I have family in Cali. Like I go out there. I would like to like branch out there at some point, possibly.
Okay. Definitely should.
But even like with the internet, it's like you can touch people anywhere as well too. So like strengthening my e-commerce, my online website, online services.
Okay.
Definitely doing more like sound healing work and like energy healing, gemstone healing and stuff like that. Sharing information with people, holding more workshops, doing more conversations, planning more events that are aligned with what I'm doing as well too. I have a few events that are actually in place that we're working on pitching and setting up like the decks and stuff for. That can like help create that bridge between like entertainment and media industry and like mental health awareness.
That's great.
And so like doing more things that are in alignment with that, so that I'm able to like still follow through with my passion and my purpose of like sharing this information, but then also to being able to like still stay true to like my roots in terms of like the business and the creative industry as well too.
Because you've been doing this for 10 plus years, so it's like
and it's something I don't think I'll stop doing. That's why I've been doing it this long. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just go at my own pace and just do my own thing. And because I don't like, even times where I've thought like, oh, maybe you should stop, like I would think about, I'm like, what would I do? And then someone hits me up like, oh, I want to get a bracelet, oh, I want to get a necklace, and I'm like, okay, like
that
I
gets
can't
you right
just
back
stop.
To it.
Exactly.
That's good. And one thing I like to ask my entrepreneurs is, they say that all entrepreneurs have 5 skills. They say that those 5 skills are focus, research, cash management, communication, and that's it. Research, cash management, focus. What else? Research, cash management, communication, focus, and research, cash management, communication, focus. What do you say is your strongest skill, and what do you say is your weakest skill? Well, not weakest skill, something you want to improve on. And I can repeat it again.
No, it's cool. I would say that my strongest skill would be communication.
Okay.
It's funny because I used to be very shy, and sometimes I still get shy, but I've been learning to like trust myself and like walk in my light, walk in my power more, and utilize my voice more, because I'm a big thinker. But then I sometimes will have like an analysis paralysis where I'm overthinking, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I don't say anything at all. But I've been learning to just trust that, and even just me being a vessel, like doing this healing work, like as you clear yourself up, you become more of a vessel, not only for yourself but for other people. So like sharing information from like source, or sharing information just like what comes to you like from the heart. And so I've been like learning to lean more on that, and like trusting the research that I've done, trusting the work that I've done, and just life experiences and like my own wisdom, and using that communication as like a strong point, not only like to explain what I'm thinking, but even to connect with people, because then through communication, through one conversation, that could change your career. That can create an opportunity, that could put like money on the table, you know. So I would say that would probably be my strongest.
I would agree with that.
Things I've been talking this whole time.
No, it's good. It's good, because I mean, just like I can sense your communication is great. I mean, I'm an introvert at heart, so sometimes it's tough for me to get out there and just talk. Like, I don't like spilling out everything, but sometimes I have to, just because I know what I want to put information out there like this to people. So to me, to get over that, I gotta get over my fears, and I have to get out there and start, letting people know. So that's cool. And what would you say you want to improve on?
I would say what's focus or
focus, cash management, research. Well, we talked about research, and we said communication already. Was your strong suit? I would say focus, because like I feel like I have a little ADHD where I'm like, not me like doing all these things. I'm like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that, and like I can multitask, and I can focus on several things at one time. Like I could be on a call and then making a bracelet or doing something else. But then I also learned that sometimes from doing that, it may stray my focus away from like the one thing that I'm supposed to do. So I'm learning to like focus on one thing at a time. Or even like on my to-do list, I'll say, oh, well, I want to work on this week, and that, and that, and that. And it's like, okay, Tati, scale back. My to-do list be looking crazy.
Focus on that today. And then if you don't get to it today, then you do it tomorrow. And like, so just like focusing more on one thing at a time and creating like more structure and organization around it and like discipline. Because it's like I want to create and be free spirited and like do all these things, but then it's like I also have to ground myself. So just remembering that balance.
I think balance is key. I think everyone has to figure out that balance, especially when you're being an entrepreneur. There's nobody writes this out for you. Nobody tells you this is the way to go about it. So it's always going to be a learning experience. I definitely experienced that. So in terms of what's next for you, what's next for your business, if somebody was to come to you and be like, I love your brand, I love what you've been doing with it, 5 years down the line, but I want to buy your business. Like I want to buy it. What would you sell? Would you?
No.
Would you?
I could like partner or collaborate.
Okay.
Maybe like we could do a collection together. But I mean, my business is my name. So it's like it's so closely tied to me, and Ilia is actually my grandmother's name on my father's side.
Oh, okay.
I did not know her, but my middle name is her name.
Okay.
And so I always felt so connected to her, and it's just such a beautiful, unique name. So when I was like, okay, you're gonna do your own line, like what is it gonna be? So it's been my baby, and I feel like that's a gift and a curse where I've held it so close. So I'm just like, no. But in terms of that, I couldn't just sell it. You know what I mean? If anything, I would like do another project with someone and then say, okay, like this is that, and then that could just be on its own. But this is like, because even like the bracelets, like I hand make them. I'm picking the colors and the stones, and I'm saging them, and I'm charging them with the selenite and clearing the energy. So that when I'm giving it to the person, so when I'm giving it to the person, it's just like, okay, like I'm giving this to you with good energy. So like even the stuff that I get from distributors and manufacturing, I'm still saging, I'm still playing my sound bowl in here, and that's why I also have to be conscious of my own energy, because I want to make sure that like the energy that's being placed in these items, because everything is energy. You could hug somebody and they could give you good energy or bad energy, depending on how they're feeling. So it's kind of hard for me to just sell.
No, I understand.
But like definitely investors, or like if you want to like partner or something like that would be different.
I don't see you selling just because I see how passionate you've been doing this for 10 plus years. If you wanted to sell, I feel like you would have found a way to sell it.
And it's not only about the money for me.
It's about the passion. It's about the creative side of it. It's about creating something that you're a part of and that you can help heal people. And I think we should continue doing that. I don't think we should sell it out. I personally don't think we should sell out. I think we should continue with that for real. And how long does it usually take? How long is the process to make one of these bracelets? Like people on the camera.
Depends.
So you got like a bunch of different ones here. So how long would it typically How long would it typically take to make?
Not long, honestly. The beaded bracelets are not a very hard process. More so, it's like the color combination. Like, what stones do I want to use? Like, what do I want to give off? So, like, the green one has a lot of green jade, which is good for prosperity and abundance. You think of green, you think of money, you think of nature. So, tapping into that energy, then saying, okay, what accents can I do that add to the green? So, I add the light blue opalite to it. So, doing stuff like that, or like the black stones are more like, they have like a darker tone to them. They're more about like protection and grounding your energy. So like seeing what stones do I want to add when it comes to that. The chakra bracelet, it took a little bit longer, maybe like 15 to 20 or 30 minutes, just figuring out the combination and the stones, because then it's like, okay, let me look at the 7 energy centers of the body. Now which stone is for each energy center based off of what I have. So then when it comes to the bracelet, it's like, okay, I'm gonna add the clear quartz for my crown chakra, the amethyst for my third eye, that's for spirituality, intuition, and the crown is for like power, healing, transformation. The blue lapis is good for communication. That's the throat chakra. So communication, healing, connecting like with your ancestors.
That's crazy how you remember all this. This is
after I say it so much, and I started remembering it. I used to like be reciting it to myself, like, okay, what's this, Tati?
Yeah, but you've been doing it for a while, so
and I'm still learning, because there's so much information. Like if you guys just go on Google and you search gemstones, like,
I was over there. I was like, wow, this does that. This
it's
does
a
that.
rabbit hole.
It's crazy what these gemstones can do.
You could totally go down the rabbit hole. And then like the pink is a rose quartz, which is good for the heart chakra. So love, healing, compassion. Citrine is good for the solar plexus, which is good for energy, ambition, creativity. Tiger eye is good for protection. That's the sacral chakra, so protection and courageousness and like confidence. And then the red jasper is good for grounding your energy. That's the root chakra. That's like your foundation. So you want to be grounded.
Okay.
Because it's like if you're ungrounded, then like everything else can fall. Like when you think of like the roots of a tree, if the roots of the tree are messed up, or if they're wilting, they're not strong, the whole tree will fall down.
It's pretty much the foundation.
Yeah. So that's when we think of our energy centers. It's like from top to bottom or bottom to top.
Okay.
And so like something like that will take longer because it's like, okay, let me actually look. But it could take anywhere from like 10 minutes, 15 minutes to just string it up, or like 30 minutes if I'm figuring out like, you know, what kind of color combination do I want to go for, and just mixing and matching and playing around with stuff.
Okay.
But then like certain necklaces that are a little bit more intricate, where I have some that I'm beating them individually, and then I'm like taking the wire and bending it.
Customized.
And it's more customized, so that could take an hour, that could take 2 hours. But I try to like not spend too much time on just one piece and like outsource certain things. So then that still gives me the time, so I'm able to work smarter, not harder as well too, which is what I'm still working on as well too. I can't touch every little thing.
It's a learning process.
Exactly.
So I like to leave it off like, what advice would you give to someone trying to get in this industry of jewelry and accessories? What advice would you give?
I would say
all the women entrepreneurs out there, because you're a woman of all time.
Okay,
so
like anyone, women and entrepreneurs, regardless if it's jewelry, fashion, music, business, I would say like one, do your research. Just get an idea of like what the field is, what it entails to like be in that field and stuff like that. Figure out how you stand apart, stand out from everyone else, from the crowd, everyone else that's doing it. Like even for me, I was getting into jewelry, and then I was like, well, what makes it different? And there's still people that do gemstone jewelry, but it's like my energy is still different from the next person that's doing it as well too. Also too, it's like I'm a Haitian American woman, so it's like even my own culture and my background also plays a role into like why I may do my photo shoots a certain way, or why I might use certain colors, or just different things like that. So it's like owning the unique parts of yourself instead of feeling like you need to fit in, because that's what's essentially going to set you apart from everyone else. So don't be afraid of owning your uniqueness, owning your individuality, figuring out like what you really love to do, and like how you stand apart, and then figuring out a plan of like how you're actually going to execute it and do it. And lean into your network, like ask for help, barter services, you know, do what you need to do to fund your dreams, and keep going. Know that it's not going to be an overnight process. Like everything is not going to pop overnight unless you're really, really blessed and lucky and fortunate. But even still, some people that pop overnight, they get the success so soon that they're not able to handle it. And I've spoken to like even like celebrities and music artists that I know firsthand that have had like Billboard chart hits, and then it's like it was too much for them at first, and then it's overwhelming, and then you gotta like now figure out how to balance that out. So like even when things are slow to start, embrace that, because maybe that's God giving you a break a little bit, so you don't have to like jump all the way in. It's like you could kind of get your feet wet and like lay down the foundation. It's like brick by brick, day by day, you're gradually gonna build it up. And also don't spend too much time comparing yourself to other people. Like don't stay in your lane. Fool you. Because it's like the highlights. Like no, like even me, like I go through things, but like I have struggled with like sharing my experiences and like being open and vulnerable. And like now I'm more vulnerable, but I'm also not the person that's gonna go on social media and like say, well, this is all the things that's going on with me. Because then it's like I feel like, for me, it feels like I'm trying to like look for like pity, and I'm not saying that's what other people do, but like in my aspects, it's like no, Tati, like handle what you need to handle, step back if you need to step back, because I just don't want to put that on anyone else. So like, you know, just like most people, you're not going to put what you're going through all the time. You're going to share like the good times. And so knowing that like people are showing the highlights of their life, and that's not everything. Like everybody goes through struggle.
That's
like
a fact,
the most wealthiest people, the most beautiful people, the most successful people, like everyone has their struggles and their adversities. Nobody is exempt. So just true. Like weather the storm and keep going no matter what.
That's a lovely. I love that. And how can people continue to support Tatiana? How can people
check out my website?
Check it out. It's fire. Great gems up there.
www.tatianailia.com. Also, you guys can follow me on Instagram. It's _ILIA, and my jewelry page is Jewelry by Ilia. So Jewelry by Ilia. Also Twitter, it's _Ilia. I started using Twitter again as well too. I like went into hermit mode, and I was like trying to lean off the social media, but now I'm like, okay, I need to be more active and stuff like that.
I'm the same way.
But yeah, you guys could check out my website, check out Instagram, social, email me, DM me. Everything is on there.
Got you.
So yeah.
And I also want to just toast to success. Continue to do success.
More life,
continue
more blessings.
Bring more blessings,
abundance.
and continue to give energy. Continue to give people your energy.
Thank you.
That's what it's all about.
Cheers.
And I would love for you to leave us on one of your sound bowl Sunday rituals. So
we're gonna use the big one.
She does a sound bowl ritual every Sunday, like mostly every Sunday.
Yeah.
And I've been listening. It's like one of the most peaceful things I could listen to. And it,
thank you.
Honestly, it got me right. Like one of my days I was going through, I was like, let me check this out.
Really?
It got me right. Nah, for real.
I'm glad. It's like so funny because it's such a different thing that not everyone is receptive to it. So at first I was just like putting it on my stories, and then someone was like, I actually like want to listen to more of it. So then I did it on my actual page
and leave them up there.
And I'm like, let me see how people are receptive. And it's like I'm getting some positive feedback, but obviously it's still something new for a lot of people. So what I like to hear people's feedback. Like, do you actually feel a difference? Like, do you actually? Because like I do, but not everyone.
Through the camera, you still feel the same way.
And it's gonna be different in person as well too. It's like you feel the sound more intensely.
All right, cool.
Okay, so this is actually a clear quartz sound bowl. My cousin, she gave it to me as a gift.
Oh, shout out to your cousin.
Yeah, shout out to my cousin Tasha. She's so amazing. She gave this to me as a gift. I was actually using the little baby one for a long time. That's a Tibetan sound bowl. That was like my first one.
All right. So you leveled up real quick.
Yeah, I leveled up. And so this one has like a higher tone to it. And so I'm just going to hit it a few times to activate our 7 chakras. And you can allow yourself to just inhale and exhale. You can close your eyes if you want to. And just continue to inhale and exhale. And release any stress from the day, from the week. And just allow yourself to let go. Release anything that's no longer serving you. And allow yourself to be open to the new. New blessings, new opportunities. And allow yourself to just continue to inhale and exhale and surrender to the vibration. Be filled with peace and calmness. Allow your stress to just melt away. And in this moment, we give thanks to Source, to God, to the higher power. We give thanks for this moment, for this conversation, for life, for creativity, for ambition, for passion, for purpose, for dreams and goals. Day by day, brick by brick, we make it happen. Allow us to trust the process, knowing that if it's not a blessing, it's a lesson. And even in those lessons, blessings are created. And as you inhale and exhale, you can set intentions for what you're releasing and what you're now embracing. Releasing stress, embracing peace. Releasing pain, embracing love. Releasing lack mindset, embracing abundance. Releasing sadness, embracing joy. And we give thanks for this moment. And we give thanks for life.
Wow, that's amazing. Damn, Wow, that's amazing. I appreciate you,
Thank
Tatiana.
you.
Thank you so much for having us here.
For having me.
Y'all continue to support great entrepreneurs. Continue to support Tatiana. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Y'all continue to support us. Holla at y'all.